Hi everybody, my name is Soren Dews. I'm an outreach counselor here at VSAC, but today I am here to talk to you about the college search, particularly finding the right fit. So if we're gonna get started, you might want to pull up in front of you this college comparison chart that you can find on the website. It's also really great if you can watch this presentation with another person. Right now that might not be possible, but if you have a parent or guardian who is involved in the college search with you, or if you're the parent and guardian and you have a student who you can talk to this about, it's really important that you're having conversations about all of the things that I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to be pausing during certain parts of the video for you to have a conversation, or for you to write some things down on the sheet or think about it yourself. Because I could tell you all the things in the world, but I don't really know you, and so you're the only person who really knows what kind of college is going to be the right fit for you. And so that's why you have to do this work with me, but also by yourself. So to start off, there are a lot of different types of post-secondary education institutions. 2-year colleges, 4-year colleges, you can go on after 4 years to get a master's or even a doctorate. Do you want to go to a really general liberal arts college? Do you want to go to something very specific, maybe for engineering? These are questions you have to ask yourself. And so I'm going to give you a would you rather question, which I will do throughout this presentation, and really try to think, if you had to choose, what would you do, okay? So the first question is, would you rather attend classes in person where you can make strong connections with your classmates, with your professor, but you have a really strict class schedule? You have to be there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? The other option is if you would rather take a lot of online classes, courses where you have a lot of flexibility on when you do the work, but you might not be able to make the same kind of strong connections with your classmates or with your instructor. So take a second, pause the video, write down your answers, and kind of see what you think. Another thing that you're gonna wanna think about when you're trying to figure out the right fit is what you wanna study. Do you know already what you wanna study? It's okay if you don't. But really, what do you wanna learn? What are you interested in? Does the college have the kind of program that you are interested in studying? So I have a question for this as well. So I'll read the question, pause the video, have a discussion, or just write down your thoughts. So would you rather go to a college that encourages you to explore lots of different classes in different fields of studies, or would you rather go to a college that kind of throws you right into the depth and the details of your field of interest? So pause the video and think about it. So for myself, when I went to college, I knew that I wanted to be able to study a little bit of everything before I actually chose what I really wanted to study, because I actually didn't know what I wanted to study. And that can be true for a lot of people. However, for some people, they know right away. And certain colleges like Champlain here in Vermont, they throw students right into the detailed courses your very first year, so you don't have to bother with a lot of those kind of exploratory courses. So that can be something that will really help you figure out what kind of school you want to go to, looking at those different kinds of requirements that colleges might have you do, or the way that they structure their curriculum. Another thing to think about is the actual campus itself, right? So how big is it? How many students are there, right? It could be a very small campus, but actually a lot of students are packed in that space, or a large campus and not very many students. Do you want to stay close to home? Do you want to get out of Vermont or get out of your home state? Do you want to be in the countryside? Do you want to be in a city? So I have several questions for you to think about, talk about, write down your answers to. So would you rather live through 6 months of winter every year, but also be able to see your family every weekend if you wanted to? Or would you rather enjoy the sun and warm weather for most of the year, but only be able to see your family during winter breaks? This was actually an important question for me when I was choosing college. I knew I wanted to be close enough to my family that I could see them more than just once during the school year, but far enough away so that I didn't have to see them every weekend. So figuring out that kind of radius, where do you want to go? That can be really important and can really narrow down your choices very quickly. Here's the next question. So would you rather see new faces every time you walk across campus or recognize many of the people you pass on your way to class? So pause the video, think about it, talk about it, write it down. This was another thing that was kind of important to me when I was choosing my college. I went to a small high school, and I was nervous. I was nervous about going to a bigger college. So I actually decided to kind of limit the size that I was choosing down to smaller, right, between 2,000, 4,000 students. And it can really be that you get on your routine and you see the same people as you're walking to class, you wave to them, you say hello. Or if you're in a bigger campus, you can see new people every single day as you walk across campus. And even on those same routes that you take throughout campus, you can see new people. So I have a third question for you. So listen up and then think about it. So would you rather attend a larger school where there are a lot of opportunities for research, like research directly with your professor, but a lot of your introductory classes are 300-person lectures in a large lecture hall, or attend a smaller school. Maybe there are a few less opportunities for research, but it would be an environment where you could really get to know your professors in the classroom, and they would get to know you as a student. So take a second, pause, think about it, have a conversation about it. This was something that was actually really important for me as well when I was choosing my college. I knew that I thrived in a smaller classroom environment, and I really wanted to focus on that. However, especially if you're studying a science, you want to make sure that there are opportunities for you to do research, because that's really important for your career later on. Another thing to think about, just in terms of size, is social dynamics and your friend group, right? Questions about, are you somebody who can jump from friend group to friend group, you like having a lot of friends, or are you someone who has your core group? Because that can be really different on a bigger or smaller campus, and also when it comes to things like dating. If you break up with someone and it gets really messy, are you going to be able to find a new group of friends? Are you going to be able to make it work with the group that you're already hanging out with? Those are just like real life college things that you're going to have to think about. So yeah, think on it. The next thing that you want to think about as you're choosing your college is academic selectivity. These are questions that relate directly to your grades, your current high school grades, right? How large is your chance of getting in? How selective is the colleges that you want to apply to? You should have a range, right, of colleges that are harder to get into, of colleges that you definitely will be able to get into. And you should also look at how much financial aid a school tends to offer, right? A lot of the more selective schools that have a lot more money, they might cost more, but they have more money, will be able to give you more financial aid based on your grades than a school that has less money. So you should think about both academic fit as well as kind of financial fit, and have a spectrum of schools that you're applying to that meets all of those criteria, so that you always have a backup plan just in case. Another thing you want to think about is campus atmosphere. So what kind of personality does a school have? Do they have lots of school spirit? What are the academic expectations? Is it co-ed, religious, military? Do they have any of those kind of relationships that shape the way that the school operates? Another thing to think about is what kind of supports are available to students. How awesome is their career center? Do they have tutoring that's free? What kind of housing is there? Does the school provide housing for you all 4 years if it's a school that you live at? How diverse is the student body? Are there clubs, activities, sports? How do students generally spend their time and hang out? So would you rather go to a school where the campus is integrated in the city? So basically the buildings are spread out across the city. You might have to take public transportation to get from your dorm room to the building where you're actually taking your classes. And what this means is there's kind of less campus community. There aren't really places where all students gather together, right? So that's one option. The other option is a school that has a close-knit community And there's really strong sense of campus spirit, of who you are as a student when you attend this school. But it might not be as connected to a town, or it might not even be near a big city. It might just be closer to a smaller town. So those are your two options. City, spread out campus, maybe not associated with a city or very close to a town, but really small campus and strong community. So this was something that was also really important to me. I went to a high school where we had a really strong sense of community, and that was something that I really wanted when I went to college. So that's how I would have answered the question. But as you're writing these down, it's going to help you actually find schools that you want to go to. I do have another question as well. Would you rather? So listen up and get ready to think. So, would you rather attend a school where most students live in the dorms, and you have a lot of opportunities to make new friends? Maybe there are social events that happen in those dorms. Or would you rather attend a school where most students live off campus, but that means that they don't have to pay for the school housing or the meals? So those are the two options. So pause the video, think about it, decide what you would rather do. So I knew for me that it was really important to create friends while I was at school, and one of the best ways to do that is to live on campus. If you're unable to live on campus, however, you can also join clubs and sports teams if your school has those opportunities. And most do. Even community colleges where they don't actually have dorms, they will often have clubs and meeting spaces for students. So a couple more questions for you to think about and write down as we kind of talk about this subject of what is it actually like to live on the campus. So would you rather attend a school that has your club, like your favorite activity, but it's not your dream school? Or would you rather attend your dream school, but they don't have like the club or sport or extracurricular that you really, really wanted to do? Which would you rather? So pause the video, think about it, and write it down. For me, I didn't have to actually decide between these two things because my school had both. And so that can be the real sweet spot for you as you're looking. But there might be a scenario where you really, really want to play a sport and your school just doesn't have it, the one that you really want to go to. So it can be good to know where you stand on that topic. Another would you rather question. Would you rather attend a school in a place that looks and feels like Vermont? Or would you rather attend a school that's maybe further away, that has a lot of different kinds of people who attend? So pause the video, think about it, write it down. So this question is really getting at that question of diversity. A lot of schools in Vermont are majority white students who attend, but for some people it can be really important to meet people from different backgrounds and gain that kind of cultural understanding and make friends who come from a lot of different places. So if that's something that's really important to you, it's good to think about. And most schools will have a statistic on the makeup of their student body, which can help you determine the actual diversity of the school. Another would you rather question. So would you rather spend your Saturday attending a school football game, tailgating out in the parking lot, having a good time, or be hanging out with your friends in more of a chill setting, maybe in someone's room, just like playing card games, sitting, listening to music? Which would you rather do with your Saturday? So pause the video, think about it, write down your answer. So this one was important to me for sure when I was applying to school. I wanted to be in those kind of social settings where it was a smaller social settings. I felt pretty awkward in high school, didn't really feel comfortable navigating large groups of people. So I was really looking for a school that didn't have a big sports presence and where people really just like hung out with each other. However, it can be super awesome to go to sports games, and if that's something that you know you want to do, make sure that you are looking at schools that have a lot of sport culture at their schools. So another thing that you want to think about is outcomes information. And I feel like this is one that people don't think about as often. And this is information about how many students return after their first year to the college, or how many students graduate after 4 years, how many students get jobs right after they finish. And you might be like, Soren, why are you asking me to think about this right now? The answer is, it can give you an indication of how well the college is supporting their students. Right? If they're doing a really good job at making students feel good when they're at school and also learning, students are going to come back, right? So you want to make sure that the college is going to support you in your education. And a great way to figure that out is to look at how many students come back, how many students are graduating, how many students are getting jobs. So all colleges will have those statistics for you to look at, either on their website or another kind of college search website that you might be using. And I'll give you some recommendations at the end of the video. One of the last things that I am going to talk about, and everybody's favorite, is cost and affordability, right? How much is it going to cost for me to go to college for 4 years? This is the question on everybody's mind. And one thing that's really important to consider is the sticker price, right? What it says on the website, the full cost versus the actual cost of going to the school. Because in all likelihood, you're gonna receive some scholarship money, you might receive some money from the federal government, from the state of Vermont, which is actually going to really change that huge number that you might see. You also wanna consider how much debt you might have to take out in order to go to this school, if the school has a higher price but doesn't offer you as much money. So there are tons of statistics about this and great search functions in order for you to look those up. So 2 of them are listed on the slide. One is the EFC calculator right on VSAC's website. Another is the College Navigator, which is created by the government, so you know that the statistics are up to date. And like I said before, you want to make sure you're looking at schools with a range of costs and a range of kind of financial aid and support for you. So making that nice spread, that safety, that match school and that reach school in terms of finances, in addition to kind of grades and selectivity. So I have one final would you rather question for you. And I think this is probably the hardest one on the list. And I'm gonna ask this, and you're gonna think, Soren, there's no way that this is gonna be an issue. Like, I don't know why you're asking me this. And I'm gonna say to you that this is a question that seniors that I work with deal with every year. I always have at least one senior who runs into this problem and this question. So knowing the answer is really, really important for you as you're starting to think about college either next year or in 2 years, okay? So here's the question. Would you rather attend your dream school no matter the cost, or attend any school that you get into if the price is right? So pause, think about it, write it down. If you haven't gotten your parent or guardian, or parents or guardians, if you haven't gotten your student involved in the conversation yet, this is the key spot to do so, all right? So again, pause and make sure that you're having these conversations, because they might be hard, but they're really, really important. Excellent job. We've made it through all the would you rather questions that I have for you today. And so I'm gonna leave you with a few things. So be open to all your options, right? You might have your heart set on something, but you always wanna have a backup plan. Like I was saying, apply to a bunch of different schools that fit the selectivity criteria, that fit the financial aid spectrum of cost affordability, okay? Also know that your interests, your goals, what you want to do someday, that might change. And so if you're feeling unsure, look at schools that have a lot of options for you that would allow you to easily change between majors that you decide to study. Know your strengths and weaknesses, right? Are you great at essay writing? Are you great at test taking, right? A lot of schools are test optional now. A lot of schools don't require the essay for the SAT. Don't take admission decisions personally, right? They're looking at a lot of applicants. Making sure that you put yourself out there to as many schools as possible that you might be interested in can be really good, so that you do have that backup plan. another great thing, and it's bolded so you know it's important, is to be organized and follow through, right? Answer emails. When a college sends you an email saying, hey, we're missing something, read it and answer and send that, right? Making a spreadsheet can be a really good way to keep track of all the schools that you want to apply to, their deadlines, and the various requirements that they might have for you. And before I leave you, I just wanted to suggest that College Board can be a great tool to use to search for colleges. College Hunch, we had a little box on a previous screen telling you about that. It's an app that does a very similar thing. College Navigator can also help you choose and look for colleges to apply to. And using those tools will just really help you narrow it down, especially if you don't really know what kind of school you want to go to yet. But I hope that if you've been pausing the video and having these conversations and writing things down, that you now have a list of at least 10 different qualities about a college that are important to you, right? So now that you've taken this time to think inside yourself about what is actually important to you in the college, and that is gonna be the most important thing to help you through this search process, okay? Knowing yourself, knowing what you want, and what's important to you is gonna help you find that perfect fit college for you, okay? So I hope that I've helped you today, and that you're taking away some information that you can use this year, next year, maybe in 2 years. And talk to your friends and talk to your parents or guardians about this, because hearing someone else's perspective on these same things can also be really helpful, right? You might think, oh, actually, I've changed my mind, and something else is important to me. So have those conversations, okay? Because that's gonna help you solidify what you actually want and help you be able to find the right school for you. So if you've enjoyed listening to me talk to you today and maybe doing some talking to yourself, you can follow us on Facebook. And also at our website, there are tons of other resources in regards to all things college, whether that be the search, the decision, the financial aid part. And many of you will have a VSAC counselor in your high school who can answer questions for you, ask your guidance counselors. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for tuning in. And good luck with your college search.